Namaskar, this is CVR English and it's time to roll the prime time news hour with me Anukriti Sharma. On Prime Minister Narendra Modi's meeting with the top CEOs, Anant P. Chandrakasan, the Dean of MIT School of Engineering, has expressed his privilege in hosting and also moderating the Tech Roundtable. He highlighted the key areas of discussion which included advancements in artificial intelligence or AI, biotechnology, the pharmaceuticals, low power computing and communication devices, along with quantum computing, software and semiconductor technologies. Chandrakasan has noted that the strong alignment between the CEOs in citing Prime Minister Modi ji's vision for India's future, particularly in technology, is supreme. He stated, and I quote, "What was particularly exciting is the incredible alignment between the CEOs, what they have mentioned, and the vision that Prime Minister Modi ji has outlined for the future of India. So I see tremendous opportunities for a great collaboration between the US and India," unquote. Take a look at this.
Put in jail. The Hindu psyche is so wounded now when listening to this. We need to check on not just the laddu but every food product. For Muslim there is a body which takes care, for Christians there is a body which takes care of Christian affairs and churches. So should the Hindus be. Government should keep their hands away from this. We have
I'm Ananta Chandrakasan, Dean of the MIT School of Engineering and Chief Innovation and Strategy Officer. It was my honor to convene and moderate this CEO Tech Roundtable with Prime Minister Modi and the top CEOs in the tech area. We discussed a variety of topics, including artificial intelligence, biotechnology and pharma, low power computing devices and communication devices, quantum computing, software, and semiconductor technologies. What was particularly exciting is the incredible alignment between what the CEOs mentioned and the vision that Prime Minister Modi outlined for India. So I see tremendous opportunities for collaboration between the US and India. I'm Ananta Chandrakasan, Dean of the MIT School of Engineering.
Tripura Chief Minister Manik Saha, while speaking to the media, addressed the BJP's ongoing membership drive, revealing that the initial target of 6.5 lakh members in Tripura has now been raised to 12 lakhs. He further noted that the first phase of the campaign is scheduled to run until September the 25th. Given the current momentum of the campaign, Manik has stated that he was confident that this target would definitely be achieved, as many people were already coming forward to join this movement.
पहले हम लोग के यहाँ त्रिपुरा में देखिए माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी 2 सितंबर उनका अपना जो सदस्यता अभियान पहले उन्होंने स्टार्ट किया है और नेक्स्ट डे त्रिपुरा में मैं भी स्टार्ट किया था। तो जितना प्रदेश भारतीय जनता पार्टी का है वहाँ का प्रधानमंत्री जी 2 तारीख सदस्यता अभियान स्टार्ट किए हैं और उसके बाद सभी मतलब नेक्स्ट डे स्टार्ट किया। तो मैं भी स्टार्ट किया यहाँ पर और पहले हम लोग के यहाँ त्रिपुरा में भारतीय जनता पार्टी का मेंबर अप्रोक्सीमेटली 6,50,000। तो अभी हम लोग टारगेट बढ़ाया क्योंकि सेंट्रल में भी बढ़ाया इसको। पहले अबाउट 17 करोड़ सेंट्रल में आपका मेंबर था। तो त्रिपुरा में 6,50,000 था पहले करीब और अभी इस बार हम लोग टारगेट किए हैं 12 लाख। तो जितना बूथ से शुरू करके बूथ प्रेसिडेंट, उसके बाद आपका मंडल प्रेसिडेंट और उनका जो टीम है, फिर बूथ प्रेसिडेंट का भी जो टीम है हम लोग का मेंबर्स है, जो पदाधिकारी है, फिर हमारा जो डिस्ट्रिक्ट में है, फिर स्टेट में है, सभी को कहा गया है कि आप लोग अपना जो एक हिसाब लगाया है उस हिसाब से उनको मेंबरशिप करना है। और हर बूथ में कम से कम त्रिपुरा में तो हम लोग को 500 करके बताया, 500 करना चाहिए। तो मैं बहुत सारा जगह जा रहा हूँ, अपना केंद्र में भी जा रहा हूँ, बहुत सारा जगह जा रहा हूँ, और मेंबरशिप का जो प्रोसेस है मैं कर रहा हूँ, इनका हर चीज़, क्योंकि ये ऑनलाइन में अभी चालू है, 25 तारीख तक ये चलेगा। और मैं समझता हूँ जिस तरह अभी मेंबरशिप हो रहा है तो जो टारगेट है जरूर फुलफिल होगा। और हमने देखा त्रिपुरा में अभी इतना सारा इलेक्शन हुआ है, जिस तरह माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी मोदी जी के ऊपर इनका विश्वास आस्था है और हमारे सरकार के ऊपर आस्था है, तो उनको समझ में आ रहा है कि यहाँ पर बीजेपी छोड़ के किसी के पास अभी इतना मतलब देश को आगे बढ़ाने के लिए ऐसा कोई पार्टी नहीं है। तो इसीलिए बहुत लोग आगे आ रहा है और हम भी जा रहे हैं सभी जगह।
Meanwhile, Team India has now returned to the country after clinching gold in the 45th International Chess Olympiad, marking a historic achievement for the nation. This victory is significant, viewers, as it showcases the strength and the talent of the Indian chess players on the global stage. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has highlighted this accomplishment during his address in New York, celebrating the dedication and the hard work of the Indian players. He emphasized how this success not only honors the athletes but also inspires the future generations to excel in the game of chess. The return of the gold medal winning team was met with great enthusiasm and pride across the country, further solidifying India's reputation in the world of chess. Take a look at this.
Just won Chess Olympiad, gold in both open and women's section. This is a very historical achievement, and there are not many teams which have won both at the same time, and we are winning for the first time gold in Chess Olympiad, and we managed to do it at the same time, and it's a very proud moment for all of us. Last time in Chennai we were very close to winning a gold medal, but the last two games things didn't go in our favor, and we won a bronze medal in both sections. So this time we were more experienced because we all played in the last year's Olympiad, so we managed to use our experience and play our best, and we managed to get gold in a very dominating fashion.
Yeah, I'm very happy to be part of the winning team in the Indian gold medal team in the Olympiad, which was held at Hungary. Both the teams have secured gold medal. It's like a historic moment. In the previous Chennai Olympiad, we were close to winning gold medal, but we missed out in the last match, and we secured bronze. It was really painful moment. I'm very happy that both the men and women team managed to deliver it this time. Women team lost one crucial. Then we drew against US. It was very.
Union Minister Anupriya Patel has spoken about Prime Minister Narendra Modi's recent visit to the US, emphasizing that 140 crore Indians are fortunate to witness the world's growing attention towards India. She credited Prime Minister Modi ji for significantly enhancing the country's reputation and credibility on the global stage. Prime Minister Modi ji has discussed a progressive, unstoppable India that is also spiritually committed to humanity and is prosperous. He has also stated that under his third term, India will move forward at 3 times the speed of the previous terms. I'm sure all would agree that India has now become one of the most attractive destinations for investment globally. Take a look at this report.
का अभिनंदन किया, स्वागत किया। माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के कारण आज 140 करोड़ भारतीयों को ये सौभाग्य प्राप्त हुआ है कि आज भारत जो भी कहता है उसे पूरी दुनिया सुनती है। भारत की मान और प्रतिष्ठा को अंतर्राष्ट्रीय पटल पर प्रधानमंत्री जी ने जिस कदर बढ़ाया है वो हम सभी के लिए बहुत गौरव की बात है। और यूएन जनरल असेंबली के 79 सत्र के लिए प्रधानमंत्री जी यहाँ पर आए और हमेशा की तरह जो प्रधानमंत्री जी का एक खास उनका अंदाज है कि वो विदेशों में बसे हुए भारतीयों से जरूर संवाद करते हैं, तो इस बार भी यहाँ आए और बहुत जोशो खरोश के साथ भारतीयों ने प्रधानमंत्री जी का अभिनंदन किया, स्वागत किया। प्रधानमंत्री जी ने उनको एक नई ऊर्जा भी देने का काम किया अपने शब्दों से, एक प्रोग्रेसिव, अनस्टॉपेबल, स्पिरिचुअल, ह्यूमैनिटी के लिए कमिटेड और प्रॉस्पेरस भारत की उन्होंने बात की और ये भी कहा कि तीसरे कार्यकाल में भारत 3 गुना तेज गति से काम करते हुए उनकी सरकार में, उनके नेतृत्व में आगे बढ़ेगा। इसके साथ ही क्वाड समिट में भी प्रधानमंत्री जी की उपस्थिति के खास मायने हैं और साथ ही साथ यहाँ पर प्रधानमंत्री जी ने जितने ग्लोबल सीईओज हैं अमेरिकन टेक कंपनीज के, उनके साथ भी बैठक की और आज कैसे
At the Summit of the Future at the United Nations, the US Secretary of State Antony Blinken has emphasized the need for reforming the United Nations Security Council to further better reflect the realities of the developing world and the contemporary global landscape. He stated, and I'm quoting him here, "The United States believes that this should include 2 permanent seats for Africa, 1 rotating seat for small island developing states, and a permanent representation for Latin America and the Caribbean," unquote. Blinken reiterated the United States' support for permanent seats for Germany, Japan, and for India, further advocating for an immediate start on negotiations on these critical reforms. He further highlighted that the United States is committed to adapting the UN system to represent the world of today and of tomorrow rather than the world that existed back in 1945. This statement reflects a broader initiative to ensure that the United Nations Security Council is more inclusive and representative of the diverse global community.
The African Union joining the G20 so that African voices are better represented in that group. We're leading efforts to strengthen the ability of multilateral development banks to deliver on the Sustainable Development Goals. We're making the biggest investments of any country ever to accelerate the transition to clean energy at home while dedicating billions to help people in developing countries adapt to and manage the impacts of the climate crisis. And as the world's leading humanitarian donor, we are forging new partnerships across public and private sectors to meet what are unprecedented needs around the world. These are important steps, but more must be done because simply preserving the status quo is not an option. The United States is committed to adapting the UN system to reflect this world of today and tomorrow, not the one that existed in 1945. But we are, and we will, remain resolutely opposed to revisionism. We will not accept efforts to tear down, dilute, or fundamentally alter the core principles of the UN Charter: sovereignty, territorial integrity, independence, empowering women and girls across the UN's efforts, reforming the UN Security Council to better represent the developing world and, more broadly, the world as it is today. The United States believes that this should include 2 permanent seats for Africa, 1 rotating seat for small island developing states, permanent representation for Latin America and the Caribbean, in addition to the permanent seats for countries we've long endorsed: Germany, Japan.
Rajasthan Chief Minister Bhajan Lal Sharma addressed a gathering questioning the capability of the Congress and the National Conference to bring about development in Jammu and Kashmir. He stated, and I quote viewers, "I want to ask you, can the people of Congress and the people of National Conference get roads built here? Have they done any development in Jammu and Kashmir in the past 70 years? Have you seen any development?" Unquote. Those were the statements made by Bhajan Lal Sharma. Sharma credited the central government led by the Bharatiya Janata Party for the progress made in the region by them. He further added, and I quote again, "I want to tell you all that you all must have seen the condition of Jammu and Kashmir before 2014 and after 2014 under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. A change has happened in Jammu and Kashmir. Unquote. His remarks underscored the BJP's emphasis on the development and infrastructure improvements in the Union Territory.
बंगाल के अंदर रहने वाले डॉक्टर श्यामा प्रसाद मुखर्जी जी ने आजादी के बाद जब यह धारा 370 लगाई गई थी, सबसे पहले उन्होंने केंद्रीय मंत्री परिषद से इस्तीफा दिया और मंत्री पद से इस्तीफा देकर के उन्होंने कहा था कि मैं जम्मू कश्मीर के अंदर जाऊंगा, क्योंकि पहले परमिट से आने का इस कांग्रेस की सरकार ने कहा था। तो उन्होंने कहा कि देश के अंदर दो निशान दो विधान नहीं चलेंगे, नहीं चलेंगे। और उन्होंने इस्तीफा देकर के वो जम्मू कश्मीर के अंदर आए थे और आपने देखा कि किस तरह से इन लोगों ने डॉक्टर श्यामा प्रसाद मुखर्जी की हत्या की थी। मैं इसलिए आप सभी लोगों से कहना चाहता हूं कि भाजपा के प्रति अपना स्नेह और समर्थन जताने के लिए आप इस सभा में मैं आपके बीच में आया हूं और आप इतनी बड़ी संख्या में आए हैं, आपका आभार भी व्यक्त करता हूं। यह मैं सारी बातें इसलिए कहना चाह रहा हूं कि आप ही नहीं, आपको जम्मू कश्मीर में भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार बने, ये आप सभी लोग चाहते हैं। मेरे भाई अभी बता कि मूर्ति पन्ना ढाई की धरती से आया हूं, शक्ति की मूर्ति मीराबाई की धरती से आया हूं, इसलिए मैं इस देश का, भारत का स्वर्ग कहे जाने वाले, इस भारत का मुकुट कहे जाने वाले इस जम्मू कश्मीर के अंदर आया हूं, तो सबसे पहले इस जम्मू कश्मीर की धरती को नमन।
Meanwhile, preparations are in full swing in Ayodhya for the upcoming Deepotsav 2024 with a goal of lighting 25 lakh lamps this year. Rajendra Prasad Yadav has stated that this time around they were trying to set a record by lighting 25 lakh diyas in Ayodhya. The world famous Sarayu Maha Aarti will be organized along with many other programs too. Emphasizing support for the local artisans, he further added, and I quote, "We also buy the diyas from local potters and this time we will do the same." Unquote. Viewers, this event is expected to attract thousands of devotees and visitors this year, celebrating the festival of lights with grandeur and devotion.
अयोध्या, इस बार अयोध्या में जो है 25 लाख दीपक के रिकॉर्ड बनाने का हम प्रयास करेंगे और उसमें 25 लाख से अधिक दीपक लगाएंगे, तब 25 लाख का रिकॉर्ड जो है जी सरकार की इच्छा के अनुरूप जो है बनाया जाएगा। और जहाँ तक है सरयू महा आरती का आयोजन भी होगा और बहुत सारे कार्यक्रम इसमें जो है जो परंपरागत रूप से होते हैं वो सारे कार्यक्रम रहेंगे। तो हमारा जो है मुख्य फोकस जो है वो दीपोत्सव का जो ऑयल लैंप का रिकॉर्ड होता है वो 25 लाख का है।
इस बार क्या अयोध्या के आसपास बसने वाले कुम्हार जिन्होंने अपना परंपरागत
Amid the ongoing Tirumala Laddu controversy, members of the Andhra Pradesh Hindu Sadhu Parishad recently held a protest outside the Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanams or the TTD administrative building, demanding strict action against those involved in the Laddu Prasadam controversy. The protesters called for preserving the sanctity of the Tirumala temple and urged the authorities to address this issue with grave urgency.
And fish oil in Tirumala Prasadam, that is also laddu, which crores of people had eaten that. And Hindus basically don't eat beef, and they see a cow as a sacred being, and they see the God in that cow. And the government is, everyone is saying that this is because of to reduce cost, they make order to that company. But this is not depending upon the order, because here we are not giving money from our pocket. It's the devotees' money which given to God. There is no point to reduce the cost. You can A grade quality you can maintain, but even though you are not maintaining that, that's simply because to hurt the devotees' mind, and this is very painful to Hindus, and this cannot be tolerated anymore. So in this way, the government has cheated Hindus, not only in Andhra Pradesh Hindus, the worldwide Hindus, because Tirumala is not only God darshan by only Andhra Pradesh. Total, the whole of India and the whole of the world is coming to Tirupati in lakhs of members, and they all ate that prasadam, and this is very painful for us. And we want immediate punishment, and whoever the guilty should be punished strictly, and this is we want justice for that. So my name is Abhiram, and this is not only basically one organization. The Hindus who are the devotees of Sri Venkateswara Swami, and not only Venkateswara Swami, the Hindu mindset, whoever has, all are protesting here. You can see not only Venkateswara Swami devotees, you can see Lord Shiva devotees, Subramania Swami devotees. We are not divided into Shiva, Vishnu and Subramania. We are.
In fact, this Tirumala Laddu controversy has become so huge that spiritual master and creator of the famous Art of Living, a volunteer-based foundation, Sri Sri Ravi Shankar ji has also commented on the Tirupati Laddu Prasadam controversy, saying, and I am quoting him here, viewers, "We have read in the books of history as to how the Sepoy mutiny happened in 1857. And now again, we see how this Laddu controversy has seriously hurt the Hindu sentiments worldwide. This is something that cannot be forgiven or pardoned. It's malevolent, and those engaged in this process are acting out of extreme avarice. Thus, they must receive harsh punishment. Everyone, even somewhat involved or connected with this process, needs to have their assets seized and be placed behind bars. Not only the Laddu Prasadam, but every food item produced within the temple premises needs to be inspected." Unquote. That's what Sri Sri Ravi Shankar has said.
The sentiments of the Hindus are deeply wounded by this Laddu. I mean, this is something which cannot be pardoned, it cannot be forgiven, it's malicious, and it is height of greed of the people who are involved in this process. So they need to be punished severely. Not only that, all their assets should be seized and they should be put in jail, whoever is remotely involved in this process. And number one. Second, what is needed is, the Hindu psyche is so wounded now when listening to this. We need to check on not just the laddu, but every food product. What about the ghee that is available in market? Is anyone checking what they are putting in it? All those who are adulterating food, and they put the mark that it is vegetarian, and they put any sort of non-veg stuff in it, should all be very strictly punished. Adulteration should be done with in this country. And for the temple management, we need to see that it is under the supervision of saints and swamis and spiritual leaders, because see, it's only Hindu religion which does not have at the helm of the affairs the religious leaders. The temples are not managed by religious leaders, except a few one. So we need to have a committee of spiritual leaders, both north and south. They should oversee. Let there be a person from the government side as well, but he has to be playing a minor role. But major decisions, major supervision, everything should be done by a religious board. Like SGPC is there, like for Muslim there is.
Shifting focus now to the national capital, Delhi Chief Minister Atishi visited the Prachin Hanuman Mandir in Connaught Place to offer her prayers. This visit follows her recent appointment as the new Chief Minister of Delhi, where she officially took charge just yesterday.
हमारा भी काम हो जाएगा। रिक्वेस्ट है पंडित जी प्लीज।
Shifting focus to world news, Anura Kumara Dissanayaka, a Marxist-leaning politician with no political lineage, took oath as Sri Lanka's president yesterday, a day after he won a comprehensive victory in the debt-ridden South Asian country's presidential election. Dissanayaka, who is 55 and does not possess any political lineage so far, like some of his rivals do in the presidential election, led from start to finish viewers during the counting of the votes, knocking out the incumbent president Ranil Wickremesinghe and the opposition leader Sajith Premdas. Take a look at this. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings me to the close of this special edition of Primetime News Hour with me, Anukriti Sharma. Keep watching CVR English for more news and updates.